Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are talking about a team that is very near and dear to my heart, and though that might be indicated by my shirt, it is not the Milwaukee Brewers, it's the Milwaukee Bucks. And as you all probably know, the Bucks lost on Friday. They are now in a 3-0 deficit in their series against the Heat. This afternoon, they're playing Game 4 with their entire season on the line. And based off of the first 3 games, I don't give them much of a shot of winning. There's a lot to unravel here. First of all, I'm hearing a lot of people putting a lot of blame on Giannis for not being able to be the superstar that the Bucks needed him to be and becoming the best player in the series, because that's clearly been Jimmy Butler. And while Giannis hasn't been terrific, he hasn't been terrible either. Obviously, the 0 for 7 from 3 hurt last game, but it's more of a shot selection thing there. Like, he needs to realize when he's cold, he just needs to stop shooting those shots. It's not so much about him missing, it's more about having confidence in his shot that it'll go in. And I've thought this all along with him. His form is pretty solid. He just doesn't seem to have any confidence in it. And that's where he could definitely improve, get some more confidence in his jumper. The other person you could blame this on, I guess the managerial staff for letting Malcolm Brogdon walk instead of paying the luxury tax to retain Brogdon. And a lot of people say they should have paid Brogdon over Bledsoe. But I don't think that's true. I think that Brogdon's skill set overlapped too much with the 2 stars, Giannis and Middleton. And Brogdon just didn't really want to be in Milwaukee anymore because he wanted to have a role on the team where he could have the ball in his hands more often. And obviously, when you look at his 2 main suitors when he was making his decision in free agency in Phoenix and Indiana, he would have had the ball a lot more often than he did in Milwaukee. And that's part of why his points per game went up, although his efficiency did go down this year. But that's kind of expected. He shot 50, 40, 90 last season, and that's just incredible. Another fault we could give the managerial staff is they stood pat at the trade deadline. However, once again, how can you really blame them that much for that? The Bucks were on pace to be one of the greatest teams ever, have one of the greatest records ever. Who could have foresaw that there would have been a 4-month layoff? Or 4-month? Was that what it was? March to April, April to May, May to June, June to July. Yeah, right around 4 months. I mean, who could have predicted that? And who could have predicted that the Bucks would have looked like a god-awful team after the 4-month layoff? Another thing that hasn't been good in this series has been the Bucks bench. DiVincenzo started playing a little better in Game 3, but overall, pretty much ever since we came into the bubble, he's just been very underwhelming and hasn't played particularly well. Kyle Korver, he's old. Not a great defender anymore. Not even a good defender anymore. He's just very slow. He can't really keep up with anyone on that end of the floor. And you can't even always count on him to make good decisions on defense. He's had a couple fouls on jump shooters in this series. Not great from him. Pat Connaughton on offense just can't make shots, period. He lost his time in the rotation in game 3. I don't anticipate him getting it back anytime soon unless he figures out that putting the ball in the basket is kind of a good thing to do in basketball. Okay, Pat, you should score the ball a little bit, have more than 2 points in the 40 minutes you've played in this series, 45 minutes you've played in this series. I mean, come on. Marvin Williams, he was not even a starter on the Charlotte Hornets, and then comes to the best team in the league, and he's expected to close games. I just don't understand why. Okay, this is something I'm going to talk about later, because I don't think this is Marvin's fault. It's the fault of a little someone else that I'm going to be talking about for a long while after this. George Hill has been pretty good, but he's just not the penetrating point guard that the Bucks really need when teams are shutting down Giannis. They need that secondary penetration, and that could be really good from a point guard because at the point of attack, the Heat really don't have great defenders. Dragic, Hero, and Robinson all are really not that good of defenders on ball. And they're the guys that are guarding the point of attack. They're the guys that are guarding the point guard. So having a backup point guard that could take advantage of that a bit more like Bledsoe did in Game 3, although he didn't have a great, Game 2, Bledsoe didn't have a great Game 3, could be useful, but George Hill has hit big shots. He's gotten to the rim a couple times, but he hasn't been incredible. Kind of like Korver. He's getting kind of old, so his defense is still really good, but it's not terribly outstanding. Another party that could receive some blame would be Chris Middleton. However, that's completely wrong. A lot of people before this series were saying that Giannis needs a better second star and all that. Chris Middleton has had a great series. He's done what he needs to do in scoring in isolation, knocking down mid-range jumpers. I really don't have a problem with anything he's done. We love him in Milwaukee. We think he's a really, really good player. And in this series, he's proved it. He's probably been the Bucks' best player. I mean, he's played like it, that's for sure. Giannis just hasn't had the same impact that Middleton has on this series. Brook Lopez has been great. We saw some Brooklyn Brook in Game 3 with him putting his back to the basket and backing down those little guys. I think he had 20-plus points. As your third option, you can't ask for much more than that. He's been really, really good on the offensive end of the floor. In defense, it just... I don't think that he's doing a bad job over there either. Still contesting lots of shots, still blocking lots of shots. We know that in that drop coverage scheme, he's going to have lots of chances to contest those inside shots, and he's a big guy. So, usually that's a pretty good thing. Eric Bledsoe can probably receive some blame. He hasn't been terrific, but he had a really good game too. He was getting to the rim a lot, getting easy buckets for the Bucks. Obviously, down the stretch in Game 3, he took some really, really head-scratching shots. He had some turnovers on his drives to the basket that weren't any good. But I don't think he's been especially bad. I still think that he's like a borderline all-star level guy. And he's just not there mentally maybe, I don't know. I don't think he's been as bad as a lot of people think he has been in this series. I don't know that there's that huge need to move on from Bledsoe that a lot of people think there is. After that, you've got the coach, Mike Budenholzer. And this is where it gets interesting. Where to start? Where to start? Bud ball. Bud ball. Who doesn't love some bud ball? Where give wide open 3-pointers to decent to poor 3-point shooters. And when Jay Crowder knocks down every single 3-pointer that he gets a good look at, shoots around 40% from the series, maybe 45%. Do you make an adjustment and say, oh, that guy's been killing us in this series? Maybe we should be sure to close out on him. No, why would you do that? Let's just keep giving him wide open looks so that Jay stinking Crowder can take 15 3-pointers and knock down 6 of them every single game. Let's just keep letting him shoot. Even if he makes every single one. Because it's Bud Ball, and we let them get that shot. Hooray. The thing that makes me the most angry with him is the rotation. Actually, you know what? That's not even true. That's probably the thing that makes me the second most angry. But the rotation is flawed, guys. I mean, why does Giannis come out 5 minutes into the first quarter every single game? This team all season was at their best when they were playing from ahead. And we just can't get that big lead early in the game. If Giannis is coming out of the game so early, it just doesn't make any sense. What other team takes their starter out at 7 minutes left in the first quarter? Nobody. And this guy's hesitance to change from what he always does is just so annoying. Obviously, I've heard the point made that Jimmy Butler has played no more than 36 minutes in any game this series. Bam has played no more than 38. Well, that's a little more excusable for Coach Eric Spoelstra because his team has won every game. Budenholzer's team has lost every game, and he refuses to play the guys that need to be out there more often. This makes me so frustrated that, okay, in the second half, we had a really, really good offensive possession. Giannis had the ball at the free throw line, found a cutting DiVincenzo with a sweet pass, and DiVincenzo threw it down. At that point, we went up 11. I texted one of my buddies, let's go. One more basket, extend this lead by 2 or 3 more points, and I'm super confident. I believe that we're going to win. And then, I don't remember if Spoelstra called the timeout or not. Maybe he didn't. But, he come down the floor. Bam gets the ball, gets fouled, knocks down 2 free throws. Our 11-point lead is cut to 9. Bucks come down the court, don't score. Heat come down the court. Jimmy Butler gets a tip in, really tough tip in. Now the lead is 7. Now I'm starting to get nervous, you know. This is a little too close for comfort. I thought we were going to go up by 15, and then we were going to be smooth sailing the whole rest of the way. The last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter would be great. We'd have it all under control, and we're set to cut the lead to 2-1. And then this run happens. Bam hits the free throws. Jimmy gets the tip in. And then the Bucks have another offensive possession. I think this might have been the one where Giannis shot a three like 5 seconds into the shot clock. Shot a off the dribble three when he was like 0 for 5 for the game. I guess is where the shot selection drives me crazy. Doesn't go in. He get the rebound, come down the court. Dragic hits a three. 4-point game. Bucks call timeout. So all of this has been not terrible. We just gave up a 7-0 run. It's all right. We call timeout. Budenholzer rallies the guys, and they're ready to go on a run of their own. It's a game of runs. Ready to take back the lead or not take back, extend the lead back to where it was before. Let's do this. Come on, guys. And then the players come back on the court after the timeout, after the commercial break. And a certain someone is missing. A certain really, really tall Greek guy who's kind of good at basketball. Yeah, so we just gave up a 7-0 run. There's 6 minutes left in the game. If we lose this game, our season is done. Nobody comes back from 3-0 lead. Never happened before. Probably never going to happen. And we just take our best player out. What are you doing, Mike Budenholzer? I mean, come on. This is what makes me so mad. I mean, maybe it had something to do with the ankle injury, and he was kind of running gingerly on it. He was gimpy. He needed to rest it. But then why was he playing the whole game? Like, if it's a serious injury, just take him out of the game and send him back to get his ankle checked out. But there was none of that. Giannis just kept playing like he was fine. He comes out for the fourth quarter, plays the first 6 minutes, and I thought, wow, Bud's actually going to play him for 38 minutes this game. Not that many. Damian Lillard averaged, 42 minutes in the 4 games he played this playoffs. LeBron averages like 40 minutes per game. Back in the day, Wilt averaged like 47 minutes per game in the playoffs. AI averaged 45 minutes per game in the playoffs. People make the point, like I said, Butler's only played 35 minutes per game in this series, but his team's been winning. That's the difference. They don't really need him on the court. They don't need him playing those big minutes because these games aren't as important to them. But this is a must-win for the Bucks, and Giannis is out of the game in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left, sitting on the bench watching. Makes me so angry. Like, why? What is the point? We just gave up this huge run, and we just take our best player out. Because, yippee, we're going to lose. I mean, it just it's completely confounding to me. And then when Giannis comes back in with, I think he came out with 8 minutes left. He comes back in with 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes left. And who does he come in for? Chris Middleton, the second best player. What? Why? Why? Why can't the Stars play the entire fourth quarter? There's no other team in the NBA that does this. Every other team in the NBA has their best players on the court for the entire fourth quarter, especially in a close game that they need to win to extend their season. There's nobody else doing this. But Coach Mike Budenholzer is too stubborn to make any changes to what he does. He plays his guys short minutes. His Stars don't play 38, 40 minutes in the playoffs. They play 34 or 35. Dude, you have won nothing in the NBA. 3 times your team has been the 1 seed. And you've never made the NBA Finals, let alone won the NBA Finals. You never made it there. You've done nothing to make yourself able to say, my system is so good and I don't have to make changes because it's worked and I've won championships with it. You're not Greg Popovich. You haven't had this success in the past. So just change your system. Don't be so stubborn. Come on, buddy. What is going on here? Oh, and this is the thing with Bud that makes me most frustrated. These guys came back from the bubble and they looked mentally and emotionally and maybe even physically just unready. And their coach didn't do anything to change that. He didn't coach them up and get them hyped up for the game. Like Eric Spoelstra, you listen to his huddles, like on the Wired thing where they show the huddle. He's like, come on, guys, we are a good team. We got this. We got this. They're good, but we're good too. And we can do this. We can beat these guys. Mike Budenholzer, you just hear him going, yeah. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're losing, but still playing well. Still playing well. It's pushing the limits if we have our guys play more than 35 minutes per game. So, just makes me so angry. This team gets swept. It's probably one of the biggest disappointments in NBA history. We had the best record in the league for the entire season. Got the number 1 seed. And in the second round, we're going to get swept by the Miami Heat, who, no disrespect to Jimmy Butler, don't have a top 10 player on their roster. Oh, I just get so angry watching this team right now. And I love the Bucks with all my heart. I go to 6 games per season. And I live probably between an hour and a half and 2 hours from Fiserv Forum, so it's a hike. But every Christmas and birthday, I ask for Bucks tickets. I ask for Bucks jerseys. As you've seen, I've got a multitude of them. I ask for Bucks clothing apparel. It's Brewer season now. This team looks awful. I'm so disappointed. Fire Mike Budenholzer. I think that it's the solution right here. He's a good regular season coach, great regular season coach, but his inability to make adjustments and shy away from his scheme in the playoffs just doesn't allow them to win. He's not a championship level coach. He's had championship level teams and he's never gotten them to the finals. Fire Coach Bud. Are there other changes that they could make? Yes. Yes, please get another star. Please trade Bledsoe and George Hill and the 18th pick or something like that for Drew Holiday. Maybe it pays off. But I just don't know what we're doing right now. Makes me so angry. I thought we were going to win the championship for a long time this season. I thought we were going to make the championship at least when the playoffs started. All along, I've thought that the Raptors and Celtics and Heat are great, but the Bucks are juggernauts. They're on another level. They're going to blow through the East, and then they're going to have a great showdown against the Clippers in the finals, and we're all going to remember it forever. They're not going to make the conference finals, guys. And I'm so sad to say it, but this team is just not there. What does this mean for Giannis's future? I think it means that he signs the Supermax this summer and says, let's get back to work, guys. That's just my belief about Giannis's character. I think that he wants to lead a team to a championship. He doesn't want to go to an established team. He wants to win in his American hometown. Since he's not from America, this is his only town ever since he's been here. I believe he re-signs the Supermax this offseason and tries to win a championship as a Milwaukee Buck. But this makes me nervous because if I've misjudged his character and he cares about a championship above all else, above loyalty and building it with your friends and your teammates, and just going to another city and taking the easier route, I don't blame him because there's a lot of problems with this team. They're very flawed, and they had the assets to improve this team. They all just played like robots in the playoffs. Played like, well, what are Giannis's quotes are in every press conference. He just says, "I do what Coach Bud tells me to do." But you're not a robot, Giannis. He hasn't programmed you to do this stuff. If you have thoughts, you can try to put them to work. But so yeah, I think the Heat will win this afternoon, and I'll be making the Bucks offseason preview video very, very shortly. Kudos to the Rockets and Nuggets for winning games against the Lakers and Clippers. I kind of counted those two teams out a little bit. I thought the Rockets could beat the Lakers, but they looked really good in game one. And I think that there's a much higher chance of them beating the Lakers than I thought there was. Nuggets and Clippers, still think the Clippers are going to win that series easily, but big win for the Nuggets. Great play by Jokic and Murray. I didn't watch, but because I've been super busy, Labor Day weekend, doing a lot of fun stuff, but kudos to those guys. Kudos to the Raptors for evening up the series against the Celtics at 2-2. Excited to see what happens there, but this video is about the Bucks. Gonna be a second round exit. So disappointing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me, and I will see you all again very soon.